Look at this clock. It's ticking, but nothing's actually changing. That's you right now. Still doing the meditations, still forcing the affirmations, still trying to act high vibe. But let's be honest, you feel stuck because deep down, you know this ain't working like they promised. You're not broken, you've just been lied to. Let me show you what high frequency really is, because this spiritual performance, it's killing your power. Let's cut the nonsense. You've been told to raise your frequency, to keep your energy high, to stay positive no matter what. And maybe you tried it. Clean eating, vision boards, full moon rituals. You lit the candles, you did the work. But if we're being honest, your life didn't really shift, not the way you hoped. And now you're starting to wonder, is something wrong with me? Nah, there's nothing wrong with you. What's wrong is the message. They told you frequency is about how you feel, but they never told you what frequency actually is. Because if they did, you'd realize most of what's out there in the spiritual world is a performance, a polished lie wrapped in incense and self-help quotes. Let me give it to you straight. Frequency is not a vibe. It's not your mood. It's not your smoothie. And it sure as hell ain't your Instagram grid. Frequency is repetition, a repeated energetic pattern. It's your awareness over time. What you focus on, what you believe, what you say to yourself when nobody's around. That's your frequency. And if that internal pattern doesn't shift, you can burn sage all day, but your life is gonna stay exactly the same. This isn't me judging you. This is me telling you what I wish someone told me before I wasted years chasing a feeling instead of building a foundation. Here's what they don't tell you. Toxic positivity is a spiritual trap. You think you're evolving, but really, you're just running from the truth. See, the more you chase feeling high vibe, the more ashamed you feel when you don't. And that shame, it becomes your new baseline, your new frequency. You think you're broken because you're sad. You think you're off track because you're angry, but you're not. You're just human. Even Jesus wept, John 11:35. The Son of God cried, because grief isn't a flaw. It's part of the fabric of this world. You weren't created to escape darkness. You were created to understand it, to transform through it. And I've seen what happens when you don't. I had a friend, spiritual to the core, always smiling, always quoting scripture, crystals, sage, yoga at sunrise. Looked like they had it all together. But one day, at lunch, the waiter forgot their order and they snapped, like completely lost it over nothing. Because when you pretend to be high frequency all the time, your shadow doesn't disappear. It waits, and when it shows up, it comes out ugly. And I've lived it too. There was a season I woke up every morning and performed joy, incense, affirmations, deep breaths. I'd stare in the mirror and say, I am abundant. Deep down, I was scared, broke, disconnected from myself. And when that fear crept in, I'd shame myself for it. Like I just undid all my progress. But the truth is, the fear wasn't the problem. My relationship to it was. I didn't need to suppress it. I needed to listen, to let it teach me where my awareness still needed healing. If your light can't survive the dark, it's not light, it's a mask. And masks don't manifest anything. That's why it's not working. That's why you feel fake, even when you're doing everything right. Because forcing joy while ignoring pain isn't healing. It's spiritual avoidance. And the enemy, he doesn't need to destroy your frequency if he can just convince you to fake it. Let me tell you something that took me way too long to understand. Frequency isn't how you feel, it's what you see and how clearly you see it. You can feel good and still be blind. You can feel bad and still be closer to truth than most of the spiritual influences you follow. Frequency equals awareness. Awareness of what? The real mechanics of this universe, not the fake motivational ones. I'm talking about the real laws, the hidden architecture behind everything you experience. See, in the book of Proverbs it says, the discerning heart seeks knowledge, but the mouth of a fool feeds on folly. Proverbs 15:14. You can't align with truth if you're feeding on spiritual fluff. So let's be clear. Frequency is your pattern of perception, your lens, your repeated inner dialogue, what you consistently believe, focus on, and emotionally reinforce. You walk through life wearing a filter, and that filter, that's your frequency. You've been taught to chase high frequency moods, but I'd rather you chase high frequency vision. Because here's the truth, the moment you stop letting your emotions define your frequency. You step into your power. You stop reacting to life like a child, and you start seeing reality like a God. Not an ego, but an understanding. Because when you understand the laws, you stop being ruled by them. Let me explain something most positive vibes only people don't want to touch. The universe is built on polarity, light and dark, up and down, life and death, you and your shadow. And if you don't understand this law of polarity, it's not just theory, it will eat you alive. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Let me show you what I mean. One of my favorite movies, and I don't care how many times it plays on cable, is The Pursuit of Happiness. Will Smith plays Chris Gardner, a man drowning in failure, homelessness, and rejection. And yet, you watch him fight, you watch him lose everything, and somehow, you still believe he'll make it, that he has to make it, because that's the law of polarity in motion. His darkness is what gives the light its weight. His despair is the engine behind his breakthrough. Even the title tells you happiness isn't handed to you. It's pursued through its opposite. That's the real secret nobody wants to admit. The shadow doesn't block the light. It creates the contrast that makes it visible. Think about it. Hot and cold, same energy, just different temperatures. Love and hate, same fire, just pointed in different directions. Wealth and poverty, courage and fear, success and failure. They're not different realities. They're different degrees of the same vibration. So when you try to avoid the dark, you're actually cutting yourself off from the full range of power. You don't need to bypass it. You need to understand it. You need to hold it, because the universe doesn't reward the ones who stay positive. It rewards the ones who stay present. Jesus said in Matthew 5:45, "The Father makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust." Translation: everyone gets hit, everyone feels the swing, but not everyone knows what to do with it. The prophets, they weren't smiling 24/7. Buddha faced demons. Jesus bled. Moses ran from his calling. Even Elijah begged God to end it all under a tree. And yet, they were the high frequency ones. Because high frequency isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's standing in the storm with your eyes wide open and not flinching. That's power. That's clarity. That's real alignment. You want to know what real high frequency looks like? It's not smiles. It's not how long you can hold a handstand. It's not the number of crystals on your nightstand. It's how you respond when things don't go your way. Because the moment you let your emotions run your frequency, you hand your power over to the illusion. That's what the enemy wants, to keep you reactive, triggered, fragile, spinning every time life doesn't give you what you expected. Emotion is just energy in motion. And if you don't have the discipline to direct it, someone else will. That's why most people never manifest anything real. They don't build spiritual muscle. They just chase the next high. But true frequency mastery comes down to one thing: non-reaction. Jesus didn't panic in storms. Buddha didn't beg for peace. They embodied it even when the world was falling apart around them. You want to rise? Then learn to sit still without letting the storm inside you get louder than the one outside. Look, let's just call it what it is. You've been trying to stay positive, trying to be high frequency, trying to look like you've got it all together. But deep down, you're exhausted. Not because you're weak, but because you've been playing a game that was never yours. Let me tell you something that most people won't say out loud. High frequency isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about finally being real with yourself. It's not a look, it's not a vibe, it's not a damn filter. Being high frequency means you're done performing, you're done chasing, you're done trying to manifest something while still doubting who you are every time things get quiet. It means you don't need external validation to know you're on track. You don't need likes, applause, or alignment talk to know your worth. You see through the illusion. You understand the swing of life, the highs, the lows, the stillness in between. You don't flinch anymore. You want to be high frequency? Then stop asking, how can I stay positive? Start asking, how can I stay grounded when shit hits the fan? Because that's the test. Not whether you can smile in sunlight, but whether you can hold your frame in the dark. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Stillness isn't about doing nothing. Stillness is when your insides stop begging for proof because you already know. So no, you don't need to fake being happy all the time. You don't need to look like a monk on Instagram. You don't need to feel on 24/7 to be powerful. What you do need is to stop doubting what's already inside you. Stop outsourcing your power. Stop thinking you need to earn what was already yours from the start. Because being high frequency, it's not about light and love. It's about awareness and choice. The choice to stay present, to stay rooted, to keep showing up with your eyes open even when it hurts. So breathe, get still, and remember, you're not behind, you're not broken, and you were never meant to fake your way to the top. You don't need to feel good to be powerful, you just need to be awake. That's high frequency.